You know, I've been called an anti-Maga preacher, and it's true. I am anti-Maga. In fact, anyone who claims to be a Christian has to be anti-Maga, or else you're not truly following the teachings of Jesus Christ. You cannot follow Jesus, who told us to welcome the stranger, while also advocating to close our borders to immigrants and refugees. You cannot follow Jesus, who told us to feed those who are hungry and give drink to those who are thirsty, while also advocating to cut programs that give food and drink to those who are hungry and thirsty. You cannot claim to follow Jesus, who went around and provided health care for free while also advocating for cuts to health care. You cannot claim to follow Jesus, who spent his entire life going around and teaching people while also cutting education. You cannot claim to follow Jesus, who spent his entire ministry giving hope to the poor while also advocating for an economic system that takes money from the poor and gives it to billionaires. Yes, I'm an anti-MAGA preacher because everything that claims to make America great again is bad for the kingdom of God, the reign of God on this earth. If you're a Christian, be anti-MAGA.
We don't want to hear shit when you lose your Medicaid. We don't want to hear shit when you lose your SNAP. We don't want to hear shit from those states when FEMA doesn't show up for your tornadoes, hurricanes, and floods this year. We don't want to hear shit when you figure out that those tax breaks are not for you, but they're for the rich. We don't want to hear shit when you figure out that no tax on tips and overtime ain't even real. We don't want to hear shit when you figure out that he is increasing the debt ceiling by trillions of dollars, which is going to cost us a lot. Because we try to tell you. So you're excited about this bill passing? Just remember when all that shit happens to you to not open your fucking mouth.
So there's something that's been bothering me lately that I just wanted to touch on. I keep seeing these posts where Republicans are saying, Republicans will dislike your opinion, but Democrats will hate you for years. Or something along that lines. Either way, bullshit. Let me educate you, because I know you don't like to do that. An opinion is something you have not based on fact. You can literally Google it. I know you're not going to do it because you don't like to fact check anything, but Webster's dictionary is an opinion is a decision you made not based on fact. We don't hate you for your opinions. And it's not all Republicans. It's literally, we hate people who are making a choice. We don't like your choices. That being said, your choices are to discriminate against people of color, religion, who they love, how they identify. And just treat them like shit because they're not like you. You guys want everybody to be you. How boring would America be if we were all you? Because I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't want to live here. I'd fucking move. But I don't want to move. I love America. I want to be here. One of the things I love about it is its culture. And we should be protecting each other. So keep posting your bullshit. But understand that you're just showing who you are and that you're hateful. You don't love people unless they're just like you. Bullshit. Get your shit together.
So, megalomaniacs, a white, straight man from Utah that also was raised to be conservative. How about that now? But you were so sure about yourself that you were spreading hate, and more hate, not even wasting a thought that this hate that you're spreading like a virus, that this is what is causing all the tragedy out there. And this is exactly what I mean. If you wouldn't have so much hate and spread so much lies all the time, this maybe wouldn't have happened. And I still do feel bad for his children that will grow up without a father now. But it's all because of the hate that you're spreading each and every day. And yeah, I heard those videos, I saw those videos. Oh, it will be those libs. Oh, it will be those whatever, foreigners. So I saw it all, even the video saying, oh, another transgender person that did this. So yeah, nope, I'm sorry. And for my fans, here again, so you can make fun of me, but I have to disappoint you. I'm not trans, I'm not a man, I was never a man, I was born female, I'm still a female, I'm just overweight. So there you have it. And you know what? Some of my best friends are trans, and I love them dearly. So, in your face. And to the good people of the United States that didn't choose this, stay safe.
They are asking for a civil war. Hello, lovely people. Welcome to my channel. It's Anthony here, and it's good having you. So Maga is asking for a civil war. They are forgetting Democrats are the majority in this country. That's what they tend to forget. They tend to forget what we did to the Confederates. That's what they tend to forget. Now they are asking to let their lives to defend racism, to defend hatred, to defend misogyny, to defend their stand against human rights, to defend their stand against our trans people, our black people. That's what they want. They want to make that stand, to live their lives to defend it.
Guys, quit arguing with Maga and let the facts speak for themselves. That orange Cheeto was mentioned 64 times in the Epstein reports, and he pled the fifth 97 times while being questioned. He has 34 felony convictions and 91 criminal charges, and they're worried about immigrants. This diaper ambassador actually has 26 SA allegations against him. He has 6 bankruptcies, including a casino. How the fuck do you bankrupt a casino, by the way? He dodged the draft 5 times. Meanwhile, he also calls prisoners of war suckers and losers. He has 4 indictments and 2 impeachments. He scammed a fake university and a fake charity for millions and got them both shut down. He's no longer allowed to have charities, by the way. He has a $400 million fraud judgment against him and a $93 million SA judgment because he can't figure out how to stop defaming his victims. He once tried to argue in court the legitimacy of an Indian tribe by saying they didn't look Indian enough to him. Yes, that's true. And he was also caught discriminating against people of color on his housing applications. And all of those are only just a small list that represents his moral character. It has nothing to do with his political career. How about the fact that he was the first president in history to increase the deficit every single year during his term? I thought Republicans were fiscally conservative. Apparently not. He was also responsible for the longest government shutdown in United States history while his own party controlled both chambers of Congress. Figure that one out. He lied about the wall. He lied about no tax on Social Security. He's defunding education, veteran resources, and he's punishing news media like PBS for actually reporting the facts. Quit arguing with MAGA. None of these facts matter to them at all. Show up instead.
Yo, MAGA has one angle with all of this. It's the culture war. I think the best example of this is the Utah governor saying that he was praying that it wasn't one of us. They wanted it to be trans. That's why Wall Street Journal ran that absolutely irresponsible headline about transgender ideology. And when it turned out to not be a trans person, an immigrant, a minority, or any other marginalized group that they hoped it wasn't, when it was one of them, or rather it was someone who thought that Charlie Kirk wasn't right-wing enough for them, now all they can do is dox people in the name of their free speech advocate who regularly dox and harass professors who he believed to be too liberal. Interesting how that worked.
You guys ever try to have a conversation with somebody that's super MAGA or like a Trump supporter, and it doesn't even have to be a political conversation, it could be about anything, like geography? None of them, and I mean none of them, every single one I've ever spoken to, they cannot even tell you like where Australia is in relation to where we live in the United States. They can't even tell you any of the states that surround them where they live. Like they don't know, they don't even know the geography of this country. And they can't even tell you any historical fact. They can't tell you anything about any other country's history in the world. They cannot tell you anything about anything other than like where they live. These people are so shut out from the world. They're so selfish, and all they care about is like what's going on in their own little ridiculous lives. They don't know anything at all. They have no education, no matter how old they are either. Like they could be like well into their 50s and 60s. Even the young ones that are in school, they cannot tell you anything. And no matter how old they are, they have the education level of like a second or third grader. All of them. And I'm not even saying this in the perspective of I live in the Bible Belt or like any of the southern states, because as we know, their education system is awful. I live in the Northeast. I live in Massachusetts, where our education is tip-top unbelievable. And even the MAGA people that are up here, they are unbelievably, I mean it's actually mind-blowing how dumb they are. It blows my mind all the time, and I really just listen to some of them and I'm like, how are you people allowed to vote? How are they even functioning in society? I'm not even trying to make this video to be mean. I'm not trying to be like F you, like whatever, even though they are all Yahtzees and fascists and I think they are awful people. I'm not even trying to like call them dumb to be mean. They are genuinely the dumbest people on the fucking planet, and that's why Donald Trump wants to continue to defund education. And it honestly makes perfect sense, because MAGA is a cult, and like in order to gain followers, if you're a cult leader, the dumbest people will follow you in a cult, like, because they just don't have any way of thinking for themselves. This is going to be, people that are MAGA are going to be studied by historians and studied by people that specialize in cults. Like this period of time is going to be so interesting. It blows my mind. I don't know.
America's such a free country, but other countries have free healthcare and we don't. Like, yeah, but America's free. But other countries offer free tuition to students who are trying to get an education so that they can have a better life. But in America, most people's first derogatory mark on their credit is student loans. Yeah, but America's free. But other countries have free fruits growing on public sidewalks for people that are hungry, while the U.S. just cut funding for free and reduced lunch and other benefits like SNAP and Medicaid for low-income families. But America's so free. But other countries have housing first strategies that help eliminate homelessness on the streets, and in America, we arrest people for being homeless on the streets. Yeah, but it's so free. Oh, you mean free as in having 34 convicted felonies, firing everybody but himself, and living in the White House instead of prison. Got it.
So it's official. Disney has said you cannot wear MAGA hats at their parks anymore. If they catch you with a MAGA hat at a Disney park, they said they will detain you and then you will be banned for a year. I think it's a long time coming, because aren't we all tired of watching those videos where these people put their hats on and walk around Disneyland just trying to make eye contact with people? What's crazy about that hat, people only wear it as a way to antagonize those around them. Like, nobody wears it with the idea of just like having a normal day. They don't wear it to just go about their business and not bother anybody. They only wear it so they can harass people. They want you to be looking at them funny. They want you to be angry. They want you to say something to them. Also, they can have that moment of gaslighting you and going, what's the problem? It's just a hat. I'm just expressing my First Amendment right of free speech. But then you don't care about any of those amendments, any of those rights, or anything when we're talking about all the issues that the man you voted for is waging on the American people. You don't care about those rights then. They only care about the Constitution when it allows them to reinforce their hate on other people. Just like they only want to wear that hat when they are going places that will make other people uncomfortable. So I'm glad Disney is doing something. I think they're very late to the party, but finally they are stopping this nonsense, because them hats are going to get people hurt if they keep doing it at these parks.
Smart people don't like me. Hello, lovely people. Welcome back again. These are not my words, eh? These are the words of Donald J. Donald J. Trump, FDT. Those are his words, eh? Smart people don't like me. Look at it. It's in the public domain. That's what he said. So, which smart people don't like Trump? You can see them in our communities, in our social gatherings. Smart people don't like him. And you know the reason, eh? They know that Trump is a scam. Trump knew our country was silently divided. He knew it. He knew that the Confederate issue Did it die down? It was just a fire that was slowly burning, and it needed someone to blow the wind into it to spread further. That's what Trump did. Trump is not a savior. Trump is not good. Trump is an opportunistic, is a scammer, is a failed businessman, is everything bad you can believe is happening in this country.
Hi, I'm Caroline, and I used to work for Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. I grew up in rural conservative bubble in the suburbs of Houston. My family was conservative, so I just grew up surrounded by conservative politics. And as a privileged white woman in the conservative bubble, I was never forced to confront politics and really think for myself about what I believed in. So when I was 17 and I met Charlie Kirk and he talked about limited government and fiscal responsibility, it just made sense for me. And so from there, I ended up working for Turning Point full-time for part of it during the first Trump election. And a lot of what I did was writing articles specifically designed to scare people and garner traffic and really just ratchet up the intensity of the political moment. And at the time, I thought that I was saving America. I really thought that this was the end-all be-all, and that if we did not fight for these conservative values, America was going to fall apart and Hillary Clinton was going to ruin the world, and the deep state, I wasn't even a term at the time, but basically the liberal, media liberal elite is going to take over the world. And I genuinely believed that. I really did. But then in college, I was studying political science, and I started to learn how the world actually works. I started to learn about governance, about the importance of government, and what the government can do. And a lot of conservative politics stuff just started to not make as much sense to me. I started to really question what I believed. And that was so scary because in the place where I was at, your political view was number one, synonymous with your faith. It was like you almost worshipped politics and your political stance. It was so extreme that for me to question my political views was akin to having a crisis of faith. But I did have that crisis of faith, and the more I unraveled it, the more I realized that conservative politics just did not make sense to me, that I thought it was unethical, that the right wing was getting more and more extreme by the day, and that I was not comfortable with it. So that's when I pretty much quit Turning Point. And I said, this is not okay. What is being done to the electorate is not okay. But I was scared and I was confused. And so it took me a really long time to really figure out what I believed. And now, in the second Trump administration, I can't not talk about it. And so I want to share my experiences as somebody who used to be super conservative, who is now involved in liberal politics in small town Texas, and talk about how important it is for, if you are claiming a political party or political ideology, to really understand what it is you're talking about and what it is you're championing. So stick around. I'll be sharing some of my stories from Turning Point, as well as hopefully connecting with people who were formerly conservative. Maybe they're kind of thinking about it, really hoping to do some good in this dark time.
Maga has made hate their brand. And let's be clear, their mission is white nationalism. For years, they've spewed venom at black folks, immigrants, Muslims, women, LGBTQ folks, anybody for that matter outside of their little bubble. And they didn't whisper it. They screamed it. They monetized it. They turned cruelty into content. They cheered violence. They laughed at suffering. And anytime somebody that they hate got hurt or silenced, they called it justice. But now Charlie Kirk is dead, and they're calling for compassion. They want us to forget the years of bile, the dehumanization, the glee over other people's pain, and instead shed tears for their mouthpiece. But, man, that's just not how this works. You can't build your entire movement on the downfall or celebrating the downfall of others, then demand empathy when the same storm comes to you. But that's the hypocrisy of MAGA. Hate as a mission, cruelty as a strategy, white nationalism as a brand. But the second they face what they cheer for, they want to play the victim. Words have power. Remember that.
Please bear with me. During the 2016 election, when I saw the rise of MAGA and ultra-conservatism, I started telling myself that this was just a political pendulum swing, that it was just a reaction to the rights we've recently given LGBTQIA, women, people of color. But after the 2024 election and the very obvious machinations of the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025, I came to realize how wrong I was. In actuality, the fact that I used "we have given" speaks tremendous amounts to my own privilege growing up as a straight, white, middle-class kid. I was not even aware of this 10 to 12 years ago. I just genuinely had no idea that being white and straight and Christian with both parents in the home had afforded me so much social and political currency. I've never been anything else. So I stopped talking and I started listening. The things I've learned have been horrifying. And I can't go back now. I can never go back to a time when I thought we were all good people in a good nation. I can't go back to a time when I thought we were the good guys. So now I'm called woke. I've tried so hard to understand how people I grew up with, people very close to me who I love and respect, the same people who taught me that respect as well as the value of caring for others, these people are endorsing this cruelty. For example, the destruction and starvation of Palestine, all based on the interpretation of some biblical passages. The sweeping mass abductions of anyone of questionable citizenship without any due process, literally snatched from their workplaces, from court hearings for immigration, just taken away and disappeared. The heartless separation and destruction of these families who came to our nation in search of a better life. The rise of white supremacy, we've all seen it. We know it's had a big old comeback. The humiliating public stripping of trans persons' rights. The repeal, and this one's personal, of women's rights to bodily autonomy by men who have never been pregnant, have never had a baby, by men in power who most likely have never been sexually harassed or assaulted, but they're making decisions about our own bodies. The cruelty of all this is unconscionable. Because when you come down to it, the cruelty of the MAGA movement is all about their fear of loss of status, or perceived loss of status. Because let's face it, a lot of this status, it's in their heads. the white Christian male demographic has been in power for so long, just generationally assuming power as they go, to the point that they took it for granted. Now there's an influx of women and people of color, people with different gender orientations, different gender identities, people of different religions, and they all threaten that domination. They threaten that power. So now you're seeing these white Christian nationalists scrambling for handholds, clawing at the walls, trying desperately to hold on to that power. Knowing this doesn't answer all of my questions, but it goes a long way to helping me understand what's happening. It absolutely does not excuse the endorsement by people that I love of this genuine, unfiltered hatred and cruelty. Notice that I still love them, because I do. Even though, for my own safety and sanity, I have to distance myself from them and their jabs about libtards and their lack of empathy for literally anyone that they don't care for. As I've probably stated before, I'm not a Christian, but I was once a very active part of a charismatic church. I grew up surrounded by the Word of God and was taught about Jesus and how he helped the poor and the sick and the outcast. He healed lepers that no one would touch. He talked to sex workers that were ostracized from their communities. There were even thieves and murderers hung on crosses beside him at his execution. And you know what he did? He blessed them all, and he offered them heaven for an eternity. Never, not even once, did I hear, learn, or read that Jesus responded with cruelty. Never did he recommend imprisonment or torture or tearing families apart. It just didn't happen. Instead, Jesus encouraged us to welcome the foreigner and the stranger alike with love and justice. Full stop, no notes. Jesus, as the Son of God, according to the Bible, taught about love, reconciliation, and forgiveness. He placed great emphasis on treating people with compassion and standing up for the marginalized. From all that I learned growing up about Jesus, it sounds like he was woke, just like me. So I've taken a lot of things from my upbringing with me. Personally, I think they're the best things. I spent many years of my deconstruction very angry and very resentful at the church, Christians, organized religion in general. It was really hard to reconcile what I had been taught to believe was only a tool to reinforce the dynamic of power of a white Christian nation. The plan they had for me was to be a good wife and have a bunch of babies and raise them in the church and support my husband, and he would be the one that spoke for me. That's not what I wanted for my life. And I tried so hard for quite a while to follow their plan. It just wasn't for me. I still believe people can have a personal relationship with their God, whomever that may be. And I'm definitely not condemning any who do. Organized religion can be a wonderful thing for a lot of people, and I recognize that. It can help give them structure for their lives. It helps them understand the world. It offers comfort around death and loss, which are really scary things for a lot of people. Organized religion can be a loving, supportive community to be a part of. But this nation is more than just a religious group. I feel like we've forgotten that we're all in this together, all of us. The whole point of America was freedom. The founding of the nation was literally about freedom from tyranny, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and the freedom to defend ourselves if any of those other freedoms were threatened. Kind of sounds like that's happening right now. The idea that anyone who does not look like you, was not born here, does not believe in the same God as you, or maybe they have a different sexual orientation or gender identity. The idea that any of these people are a threat that requires imprisonment, cruelty, and complete obliteration of their existence is abhorrent. There are precedents throughout history for this behavior. It's unacceptable. This manufactured rage at anyone who is not a straight white Christian man is specifically engineered to keep them, the straight white Christian men, the rich guys, in charge. The carefully orchestrated fear that this conservative movement has weaponized is genuine for those that believe it. They've got them all fooled. And
so guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Charlie Kirk, when he began his campaigns before Trump came, because the turning point USA was there before Trump came, he was advocating for separation of church and state. He was a secular conservative. But when Trump and Maga came in, he merged his religion with his political ideologies. He took advantage of the Maga movement to gain political traction. That's what he did. So forgive me if I say Charlie Kirk was an opportunistic. Charlie Kirk was not original. He was not like Martin Luther King, the like of Malcolm X, people who could die for their stand, people who were originals, people who came up with their views and stood by them. So Charlie Kirk arguments could only survive when he argued against these unprepared students, first-year students. But when he met seasoned debaters like me and maybe in other campuses, in other places, seasoned debaters, like the likes of Gavin Newsom, I mean people who are used to debating like him, he was crushed. He would be crushed. Yes, Charlie Kirk could not start a political argument with prepared debaters. He could never. That's why he used to take his argument against students, people who have never been exposed to the politics of our country. He would never. And he proved me if I'm wrong. Charlie Kirk would never start such an argument. So they claim this guy was a martyr. As I speak this, I'm sorry for his kids, for his wife, and political violence has no place in our country. I'm talking about his opinions. Which principles did this man stand for? Which principles? Tell me, how did this guy contribute to changing positively the lives of Americans? How did he? Which rights did he stand for? Which rights did he stand for? For the marginalized, for the working class? Yes, which right did he stand for? Except being an opportunistic. Hello, you lovely people. Thank you for watching my video to this end. It's amazing having you here. So for too long, we have been too lenient as Democrats, too accommodating. We have allowed the snake oil salesman to divide our country further. Tell me, when has the American ever been great for the working class? Since the 1980s, when has it been great for the working class? Does Trump stand for a better life for the working class? A billionaire, does he stand for better lives of the working class? Because when Trump stands on the podium, one thing he claims, I will lower the gas prices, I will lower the egg prices. But when he gets to power, he does exactly the opposite. So Trump, you cannot agree with me, he is trying to divide our country further. And when we buy into this, we are doomed. So let's stick together. Let's stick as family. Let's stick with the values we have been fighting for centuries. Let's not allow this lunatic to take us 50, 100 years back from where we came. We have come too far to lose our gains in 4 years. Let's not allow this to happen. Let's vote these lunatics out in the midterms. Let's appear in those town halls, give our opinions, and pressure these guys to do what is right. Because what is giving Trump power to do what he's doing is the Congress. Congress is the most powerful arm of the government. And even Congress can dissolve the Senate. Can dissolve the Supreme Court. The Congress can fire judges. Congress can impeach the president. So Congress is the one which is giving a Trump power. So let's appear in those town halls, let's appear in the streets, and guys, make sure to vote in the midterms, and even in upcoming elections of November 4. There is an election in New York for the mayor. There's another in California and Georgia, in Carolina and California and Georgia. I'll research. I'll tell you in my later video. But make sure to vote in those elections. I'll inform you about those elections in November 4.